Alright, Infernal Blessings. Back with another video. This one's probably going to be a little bit shorter because my next destination is not too far as I'm leaving my 9 rounds workout. Alright, quick announcements. If you need to reach out to me for a spiritual consultation or a reading, I'm going to make these announcements quick. Shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com. and I will send you a list of readings that I do offer. Klipothic demonic readings, Santa Muerte readings, Egyptian oracle readings, shadow work readings, deity readings. Send me an email at khnum19@gmail.com, and I will send you information on how to book a reading or a consultation. If you are interested and want to sign up for the classes that I do offer, the best way to do that, well, not to keep saying that, the only way to really do that is to go to the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page at patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Tier 3 is the tier you want to join on Patreon. That gives you access to the 3 private classes I do every month on Patreon for Patreon members only, and it gives you access to the monthly ritual we do together as a group. That's patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Tier 3 is what you want to join. Also, the 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference is in full effect. You can sign up and register for that now. It is a 4-day event, starting with the meet and greet on the 19th of October, classes and workshops and rituals on the 20th and the 21st, and a question and answer class that I'll be doing on the 22nd to close out the event. If you're interested in attending in person or attending virtually, which gives you access to the 3 days of classes on the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com. Also, all this new content, keep in mind, is being uploaded to the Primordial Chaos podcast page. You can now get the audio of all this material and listen to it while you're just lounging around the house, working, walking, driving, exercising, whatever. The podcast is available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. The direct link to the podcast is in the description box of this video, along with the direct link to the Patreon page and along with my email address to contact me. All right, so this is going to be a quick video, probably about 15-20 minutes. So get emails a lot. I'm also trying to focus and incorporate some of the stuff I get in emails. Practices or things that you should do before rituals, how to prepare for rituals. I want to talk about just everyday practices and techniques you should be incorporating consistently in addition to personal work that you create. So people ask, should I prepare to do rituals? Is there a certain preparation? Is there a certain thing I should or should not do? This, that, and the other. Well, one, you must identify what type of ritual working you're doing, right? But I can tell you, because that's usually going to dictate some of your preparation. Now, if it's a ritual, one that you've planned out, that you've taken time, you've, maybe wrote an outline, all right, this is a planned ritual. Now, sometimes you work magic on the fly. It can be, pure chaos in the moment on the fly, and that can be some of the best, most powerful magic. So I'm more or less addressing in this video, more or less, this is a planned ritual, you've thought it out, you've planned it out. It's always good to make sure, number one, your altar set up, right? Do a check that you have everything set up, all your ritual tools, things that you need, review all that, check it, make sure everything is there that you need. Because as I said in previous videos, sometimes you're going to forget shit. You might have had something in a ritual you forgot to implement, or a tool or part of the ritual. Don't stress it. It's always about your intent, and nobody's keeping score. Just flow with the ritual, and don't even go back afterwards and second guess it, because some people do that shit. Oh, should I have done this or that? Oh, I think I forgot that. Oh, man, no. That's not how what we do works. So after you've done your basic, checklist preparation, you got your altar set up, these are some recommendations, in my opinion, and most people would agree, spiritualists, occultists, practitioners on the path, things I suggest you do before the ritual and how you prepare. Not that any of this is mandatory, because, again, there's no particular written rule or law But these are just, I think, some vital suggestions that'll help you get optimum results and beneficial, progress from your ritual work. All right. I like to take ritual bath or some form of ritual cleansing. Right. I'm very big, and I do suggest to people you can create your own ritual baths. You can use various different oils. They got different bath washes. They got dragon's blood bath wash. They got road opener bath washes. You can combine your own ingredients. I like to put like the herb root in there. You can sprinkle some Florida water. If you have any essential oils, like they make a lot of oils, for an example, for spirits or demons that you're working with. So you can create your own bath cleanse. The focus on not just a spiritual cleansing, but also a mental and an emotional cleansing to get your vibrational frequency correct for the ritual. Because when you take a spiritual bath, it's almost ritualistic in nature, because you're focusing on a particular thing while you're doing the bath. So you can include that intent that you are going to be focusing on in the ritual. You can do that prior to the ritual by utilizing a spiritual cleansing bath. Now, there are many different sites out there. You can buy pre-made occult baths. I just like to make my own. I get instinct. When I understand about a particular spirit or a demon, and I'm educated on the implements or the herbs or the particular elementals or oils that's connected with them, candles. I always like to burn a candle when I'm taking a spiritual bath. I like to use either a tea light or a little chime candle. You can use that as an offering to acknowledge the spirit in addition to why you're taking the spiritual bath. And I can tell you this, I do one spiritual bath every week. Sunday afternoon I do it in the beginning of the week. It helps me start my week. It really does. If you are a magician that has power, and you really create a magical spiritual bath, I can attest it really sets the tone for my whole week. It really opens me up. It really gets my psyche activated. I mean, it really works for me. So I like to do a spiritual bath in the beginning of the week, and I do like to do spiritual baths. And I'm not saying I do them all the time before rituals, but I try consistently to create a spiritual bath, especially for our end of the month rituals that we do on Patreon, because again, it prepares you mentally, it prepares you emotionally, and it really gets your spiritual vibration and frequency going in the right direction. So prepared rituals is there's a lot of things you can do before the actual ritual to get yourself your spiritual vibration and your mind and your mood right. Okay, so that's one thing I would suggest. Create your own spiritual baths before rituals. All right. Now, I always suggest another thing to me that's very important. If you can, I'm not saying you have to do a complete abstinent fast, but maybe a liquid fast, or just have something light. What I do is, if I do eat, because sometimes I might be out in the heat and exercising. Let's say, for an example, we have our end of the month ritual on Friday. I'll eat something light just to hold me over. I'll get enough of fluid in my system, but I don't like to go into any ritual working with an excess amount of food in my system, because if you got heavy food in your system, it takes a lot of energy for the body to process and digest food. And if you've eaten a lot of heavy food, right, if you've been taking a lot of carbs or a lot of heavy processed food, that most definitely can affect your concentration, your focus, your meditation skills or visualization skills, which we utilize all these skills in rituals. So you don't want to go into a ritual with a heavy, full stomach. And then sometimes some foods can make you sleepy, right? You don't want to go into a ritual sleepy. Obviously, it's not good to do rituals. Also, if you've had a lack of sleep and you're extremely tired, that's going to mess you up. That's going to fuck with your energy. It's going to throw you off. You're not going to get beneficial results out of your ritual work. So don't have excess food in your system, and don't go into any ritual work extremely tired. You should never go into any ritual work feeling like it's a burden, or it's going to be so tough for you to, or you feel like you're going through the motions. I would never do it. If you're tired, it's better to put that shit on pause. Try it another time. Okay? So being tired, excess food in your system, that's a no-no when you're going into a planned ritual working. Now, this one's very important. probably one of the most important. Never go into ritual work in a state of anger, aggravation, stressed out. Because when you're going into a ritual working right out the gate with a low vibrational frequency energy, you can open yourself up to walk-ins. Okay? When your countenance is very low and that crown chakra is emitting a low vibrational frequency, you got to be educated and knowledgeable on what kind of energy or spirit you're working with. That could be a doorway to destruction for you on a personal level. And this is why if you're on the Patreon with me, you get that in the instructions the day of the ritual all the time. I always tell you, don't come to any of these rituals in an angry state of mind, or you just had an argument with your spouse or somebody, or you're just angry and you're mad about something, or you're depressed and down. When your vibrational frequency is low, you are a doorway to walk-ins. Okay? Because sometimes as we're working these rituals, we're opening portholes and gateways to beings coming through from other dimensions. And you don't want to open yourself up to some type of energy that you're not prepared for. Okay? So coming in the right state of mind is super critical. It's probably one of the most important things, if not the important thing. Not that the other ones that I mentioned aren't, that they're not that they're just as important. But this one is critical because also keep in mind, not just coming in the right state of mind, as you've heard me say in the past, when you're doing something on an individual level, but also if you're doing something collectively in a group, your negative energy can be transferred to others in the group. So you also need to have consideration for others in the work that are in the group too. And this is why over the years, a few years back, I became real selective of who I invited in person. We had a screening process because immediately we were picking up energy, we were attracting the wrong type of mentality. And it was being felt and transferred in the ritual work. So we had to cut that shit out and screen people to make sure it was the right fit, because group ritual, not only do you got to consider yourself, you've also got to consider others in the group. And as I've said in the past, only a handful of times, I can count on one hand, probably maybe 3 times or so, I've literally had to politely ask people not to do the ritual. Suggest you don't do this. You might want to come back next time, because they came, in a fucked up state of mind. And look, I mentioned spiritual baths. Let me also say this. I gotta say this shit. Unfortunately, you have to. Be also conscious of your hygiene when you come to a group ritual with others. As basic and kindergarten as that shit might fucking sound, as kindergarten as it might sound, I've had motherfuckers in the past come to rituals smelling like straight ass, toes, and feet. Okay, and me on that, I'm gonna be straight to the point. I have no leniency for that. I'm gonna ask you to leave because you smell like ass, you smell like butt crack, you smell like armpits. You need to go wash your ass. Okay. And especially I put that disclaimer out there. If you come to the conference, we've never had that problem at the conference. I have had that problem in the past at other locations where I've had bookstores or the temple that we used to have a few years back, where a couple of times that stand out to me, 2 stand out to me, where, some people will come in serious funk. All right, so also be conscious in a group ritual. As basic as, and it's sad, I gotta say that. Don't be coming with your armpits smelling like you got an onion in a headlock. Don't be coming smelling like ass crack and funk. Make sure your hygiene is up to par. That applies to group rituals. It falls in this category of preparation. Okay? So these are your basic pre-steps, right? I think these things are important. Now, before you begin, as you see, before we start our rituals, I would always, whether you have it in your outline or planning of your ritual, I always suggest decompression breathing. I always do the basic decompression breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, and then the filtering breathing, the final breath in through the nose, retaining it, exhaling it out the mouth, like puckering your lips and whistling. I do recommend, which you heard me say many times before, The Science of Breath by Yogi Rag Chamraka, which is an occult classic that came out in the very early 19th century. I suggest you get that book and practice breath control. I always suggest you do decompression breathing, exercises. I don't care if it's for 2 minutes, because that gets the blood, the oxygen circulating, and it gets you focused and prepared for the ritual. I do, as far as attire for your rituals, I'm big. When I do a planned ritual, I like to do all of, quote unquote, the trimmings. I think a magician should have their own magical robe, personally, that you use to practice your magic. Always recommended a black hooded robe. If that's not your choice, you should always do your dark occult, dark magic work in just solid black clothing. I don't care if it's a black t-shirt, a black pair of shorts. If you don't have a black ritual robe, then just wear solid black attire. You shouldn't wear light or pack, because light colors or whites or anything that's in opposition to the ritual, because remember, colors attract, and they give off vibrational frequency and energy, and it attracts. So we pretty much, black usually is the solid color we wear for our ritual work. We might wear other colors for other times, but 9 out of 10 times attire is black, and to me that is very, very important. Okay? I always suggest 2 things during the ritual. You should have a formal opening. I don't care if that's something you created yourself. I don't care if it's something from a particular spiritual system, like the Draconian opening, casting a hermetic circle, or if you created your own. I don't care what it is. You should always formally open the ritual, because it prepares the psyche and the subconscious mind that you are entering ritual practice. And you should always formally close the ritual. And always end your rituals, as I said before, with "so it is done." Not "so mote it be," "so it is," and all that religious spooky shit. "So it is done" is you putting your final stamp or affirmation on affirming that this ritual you did is effective, it will work, you will get the results. Now, before you close your ritual out, I don't ever suggest you abruptly close a ritual. You should always sit for a few moments, and whether it's in reflection or a brief meditation on what you just did, before you close your ritual out. Okay? Right before you toll the bell. Take a brief reflection. Whatever it is, unless maybe you sealed it with some type of, with the chalice at the end or something. But I don't ever suggest you abruptly just close your rituals out. Should be some brief meditation or reflection before you toll that bell, or Tibetan bowl or crystal bowl, or whatever you use to open and close your ritual work. All right? So these are just some key pointers, some steps on how to prepare, things you should do before the ritual. Again, none of this is written law, right? We're not religious people, right? Some of this is common sense. Some of these are just good tips. Is this mandatory? No. Again, there's nothing written in stone that you have to do this or you don't. Just some helpful tips and suggestions that I think will enhance and make your magic and your spiritual work more powerful. All right. I'm gonna wrap this video up because I'm at pretty much where I need to be. Again, if you need to reach out to me for a spiritual reading or a consultation, or you need information on the 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference, shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com. That's khnum19@gmail.com. I'll send you that info. Remember the link to the podcast, the Primordial Chaos podcast, my contact email, and the link to the Patreon page is right in the description box of this video. I'll probably shoot one more video later today. Should have 3 up by the end of the day. So hopefully this quick tutorial helped you and gave you some helpful tips and knowledge to assist and make your spiritual and magical work and ritual work more powerful. Infernal blessings. We'll talk soon.